What's up, guys? It's Red Stick and welcome to Football Friday. This week I just want to talk football with you guys. I just want to talk about how I think about football, how I judge players, how I judge teams, and what my opinions are on certain things about NFL and college football. First little topic I want to talk about is how I rank my top players of all time at each position. When having a discussion with friends, people tend to be very opinionated instead of fact-based, and that's fine, but sometimes it's necessary to back up opinion with fact. So what I like to do is look at a player's stats and not only judge them by their stat sheet, but they have to pass the eye test. Stats aren't everything. The amount of yards, catches, and touchdowns don't always mean that a player is the greatest player. Some players don't light up the stat sheet like other players do. For example, right now, Alex Smith is playing very well for the Kansas City Chiefs. Last year, he was the starting quarterback for the 49ers before Colin Kaepernick took over. Alex Smith doesn't really light up the stat sheet like Kaepernick is able to, but in my opinion, Alex Smith is a championship quarterback and Colin Kaepernick is not. Alex Smith is accurate and he doesn't make mistakes. Colin Kaepernick seems like he almost looks to run first, which is not what I want in a quarterback. Quarterbacks are not running backs. They're quarterbacks. They're supposed to throw the ball. Colin Kaepernick is not as accurate as Alex Smith. He's not as smart as Alex Smith. Alex Smith doesn't make mistakes with the ball and he doesn't turn it over. Colin Kaepernick does. Did the 49ers make a mistake by letting go of Alex Smith? I think so. This is just an example of how I view certain players not based on their stats alone. You also have to account for hardware when judging an all-time list of players. But hardware isn't the only thing that matters either. Because if it was, Terry Bradshaw would be the greatest quarterback of all time. And he's not. Who is? Is it Dan Marino? I don't really know. His lack of hardware tells me no, but the playing on the field tells me yes. When determining who my number one quarterback of all time is, I have to go by hardware and the stat sheet. And one of the quarterbacks that did both was Joe Montana. So if I was ranking quarterbacks 1 to whatever, my number one all-time quarterback would have to be Joe Montana. The same concept goes into ranking running backs, receivers, basketball players, baseball players, everything. You can't just look at their numbers or their championships. You have to combine both aspects and determine their ranking based on fact, not opinion. Every year in college football, there's a controversy over who should win the Heisman. Every year they seem to give it to a quarterback. Is a quarterback always the best player on the field in college football for that season? No, he's not. Then why is the Heisman a quarterback award? Because quarterbacks are the most popular players on the field. Is this right? I don't think so, but it is what it is. An example of this. Sometimes the quarterback really is the best player in the country. For example, last year, Johnny Manziel won the Heisman Trophy as a freshman. He was the first freshman in NCAA history to win the Heisman Trophy. Johnny Manziel was the best player in the country last year. There is no doubt about it. But the year before, Robert Griffin III won. Was Robert Griffin III really the best player in America that year? No. Andrew Luck was the best player in America that year. And this might be biased, but maybe even Tyrann Mathieu was the best player in the country that year. All I know is it wasn't Robert Griffin III. For some reason, the national media loved RG3. And don't get me wrong, RG3 is a great player. But that year in college football, he wasn't the best player. And he did not deserve the Heisman Trophy, in my opinion. Do I want to go on and on listing facts for you guys? I could, but the video would be too long and you guys would be bored. All I can tell you is that Robert Griffin put up the numbers but didn't win the games necessary to warrant winning the Heisman Trophy. A Heisman winner should affect his team's winning and losing. That year, Baylor lost several games. Last year in the NFL, Adrian Peterson won the MVP award. Did he deserve it? Well, I'm not quite sure. And here's why. Last year, Adrian Peterson was just a few yards short of breaking the single-season all-time rushing record. But Peyton Manning led his Denver Broncos to, I believe, a 13-3 or 14-2 record. Not sure on the number, but that doesn't really matter. Peyton played really well last year too and could have possibly won the MVP award. Another player that should have been in the discussion was Calvin Johnson of the Detroit Lions. Calvin Johnson broke the single-season receiving yards record held by maybe the greatest player in NFL history, Jerry Rice. So, was Adrian Peterson deserving of the MVP award? Maybe, but maybe not. But also, I can't dispute giving it to Adrian Peterson like I can with Robert Griffin winning the Heisman Trophy. See, in the NFL, there's less teams than there are in college, so it's easier to judge players based on what they did against each other. In college, not every team plays every team because it's impossible. So, in college, we really have no idea who the best player really is. But we can use winning and stats to determine who we think should be the Heisman Trophy winner. I realize I'm rambling a little bit, guys, but I just wanted to talk about football with you guys and let you guys know how my mind works when thinking about football. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up. This has been your boy Red Stick. Have a great day.